Oh, hello, Internet. I'm trying this new thing where I film my face and my journal at the same time, and it's really complicated. And I don't even know if it's worth it. But we're going to try it out, see what happens. I also don't quite know what I'm going to say about my journal as I flip through it. I don't know if it's more exciting for you guys to see like the story of my trip and tell you all the details, or if it's more interesting for you to see like the ways in which I used my journal to document it. So I'm really just gonna talk and see what comes out, and that's what you get. Because you're not the boss of me, I'm the boss of me. Anyways, this is my journal that I brought with me to Japan. You'll see it's still in this traveler's notebook cover that my dad made. It's an A5 size. The reason it's still in there is because it's actually just a bunch of loose pages held together by an elastic right now. I haven't bound it yet. I actually brought it to Japan as just some loose papers bound by the elastic in the traveler's notebook. And I did that because I wanted to be able to add papers that I got along the way into the notebook and use as pages. So like you see, like this is some wrapping paper that I got in a store where I went shopping. And I turned that into one of the pages in the notebook. And same thing with this greeting card. And then when I bind it, it'll all be together how it is now. But because it wasn't bound, I could add or subtract as I went along. It was an experiment. It might still fail. That's actually why I'm filming this before I try to bind it, because if it destroys it and it all falls apart, at least I'll have this video to remember what it looked like when it was whole. So that's why it's like that. Here's the cover. Wow, it's boring already. Just kidding. I'm interesting. Watch me forever. I don't know if there's anything really to say about this. I've got some Eki stamps there in the background, some random stickers I collected along the way, including lots of like stickers from packaging. Like this is made in Japan. This says made in Kyoto. This is a sticker from wrapping at the Traveler's Factory. And we're just going to dive right in because that's what's happening. When the words are coming out of my mouth, we're doing it. So just a ticket stub to get in. We got in. I mean, I can't remember exactly how long the flight was. I want to say like 13, 14 hours. We flew through Montreal, so we were actually on the plane with a lot of French-speaking people, which was really... I was prepared for some Japanese. I was not prepared for all that French. So we got to Tokyo in the afternoon, but we didn't really get to the hotel until after 6 o'clock because passport control and like trying to figure out the trains and all that stuff. So when we got there, we just dropped off our bags and we were ready for dinner. We walked around for a while and we ended up we just randomly picked this place, not knowing anything about it, but it was like sort of the only place that would like let us sit down without waiting. And it turns out, this is the place here, it turns out they specialized in eel. So really all they sold was eel. So we got some eel over rice and we also got some tempura and stuff, and it was good. If you like eel, it was good. The other stuff on this page is just like, this is the label from a water bottle that we got, a receipt from the convenience store. This journal is much more of a junk journal than I normally do, because everything in Japan was interesting to me. Like the receipts, I just loved all the, Japanese characters on it, all the food packaging. So I shoved a bit of everything in here, so it's even more chaotic than my normal chaos. Our first full day in Tokyo was a Monday. We tried to go to the National Museum. It was closed. But we did go to the Tokyo Metropolitan Art Museum. I really liked that. It sort of had just like room after room after room of like sort of modern-ish paintings. It's hard to know a lot about them because everything was in Japanese, so like I would translate a handful of them, but like mostly I was just looking at the paintings and enjoying them. And then here's my first Eki stamp from the wild. At Asakusa Station, I found the Eki stamp there. If you don't know, Eki stamps are like their train stations all have like individually designed stamps that you can stamp in your notebook and collect for free. So I was always carrying this with me, and always getting the stamps when I could find them, but they were sometimes hard to find. I think we went to some temples this day. Here's the ticket to the museum. We stopped at a coffee shop, a green tea place. There was also lots of... Actually, this day continues. So this right here is a fortune that I got at one of the shrines we went to. You put in 100 yen and you pick a wooden stick and then you get a fortune out. The first fortune I got was a bad fortune, but you can tie those up to the rack that they have there and leave them behind. So then I did it a second time and I got a regular fortune. So that was good enough for me. And then everywhere we went, there was lots of Buddha statues wearing red bibs. And I had to look up why that was. And it's something to do with... As I pause in long, awkward silence trying to remember. It's something to do with, like, the... praying to the god of lost children, or I can't remember exactly, but I really liked it because they're... Look at these little cute Buddha and his little cute red bib. I enjoyed it, so I put it in my journal. We also went to Loft that day, and I just bought some random stationery and put some random bits of it in here. I bought this pen, so I took one of the tester sheets from the store to put in my journal, because I'm crazy and I like it. This is a random flyer for something. I don't know what it was, but I liked the giant Buddha head. And this was instructions on how to get into our Airbnb, but I thought it was like really deep, like please open the door and enter your mind. Meditation Buddha. Ooh, see? Brilliant. And then that first day, I walked 23,000 steps, which is 10.7 miles, which is a lot, especially because I don't normally walk very much at all. But don't worry, I fueled myself with all these different flavored Kit Kats. So I was all set there. And this is just a business card to a restaurant we ate at. Again, probably sort of randomly. At this point, we were just sort of trying our luck at different places. And we also went to a 100 yen store where I got some Mofun Sun little... I think they're stickers. Yeah, I'll call them stickers. And then also everywhere has nice packaging. So like this was just some random washi tape that was on some packaging for something that I bought. So I stuck that in there. I mean, a lot of this journal is just me shopping for stuff and then using it in my journal. So sue me. I say that a lot. Don't sue me. I'm a lawyer and I will win. I also went to MT Labs that day and I bought 23 rolls of washi tape for $40. So this is all the washi tape sort of rolled out and tested. I talked about it a bit in my haul video, but my favorites are this one that I won in the Gachapon machine, which is like sort of children's scribbly vibes, but it's the 100th anniversary version. It says Japan's original masking tape made of Japanese paper since 1923. Kamoi Kako masking tape. That's apparently the name of the company that makes MT masking tape, washi tape. Anyway, so that's washi tape, more washi tape. Like I said, I got 23 rolls, so there's that. And then, then even more washi tape. And I also stuck this in there. It was in a coffee shop. I just really liked that they labeled the little stir stick for your coffee wooden muddler, so I stuck that in there because I had a blank spot that it fit. This day we went from Tokyo to Kyoto on the bullet train. We stopped in at the Traveler's Factory in Tokyo Station, so I got some stamps there. I tried onigiri for the first time at, I can't remember, it might have been in the hotel restaurant. You don't care. I could tell you anything and it would be true. And then this is just the little man I drew while we were on the train. I tried to look him up afterwards because it's such a weird. He was like an etching in stone in one of the shrines, and I thought he was such a weird thing to have etched in stone in a shrine because he's like this sad, sort of goofy looking man. Um, and I think maybe he was a comedian, like a ye old comedian, but I couldn't really find out. But I just like the way he looks, so I put him in my journal. Bullet train ticket. So then we get to Kyoto. And what happens there? I went to Traveler's Factory again in Kyoto, so I went to Traveler's Factory twice in one day, which is weird because I'm not even like a huge Traveler's Factory person, but like when you're in Japan, you go to the Japan places, you know? This was a great dinner we had. So I took the. I mean, I like that all the restaurants have business cards because I always take the business cards, and most of the time I stick them in my journal. Like this one, I took little notes on what I liked so much about it. Our Airbnb in Kyoto was a little scary. Like we almost didn't want to stay there because it was it was a little scary. But I put in a picture of the stairs in the Airbnb. I don't know if you can quite tell from the stairs, but like walking up and down them, you felt like you were gonna die. And so in the end, we did stay there, but we didn't ever use the second floor. We only stayed on the first floor, which worked because it was a Japanese style house, so like the futons were like stored in a closet. So instead of putting them out upstairs, we put them out downstairs in one of the tatami mat rooms, and that we just stayed on the first floor, and it worked out fine. So what can you do? Anyways, those were the death stairs, and I guess that's the name of it. So if you want to stay at a place with death stairs, go there, and you can. We did some shopping again. We're just walking around Kyoto. I think this was actually on the way to go to the Traveler's Factory and dinner again. We did some. This was like a little antique bookstore. We bought some art prints. This was, I think, like a home goods store, but they also had stationery, and it's where I first got the mini stationery. And then this is just a label from like the limited edition Coca-Cola that was out while we were there, which is the K-Wave, which I think is something to do with K-pop. It was good. It didn't taste like dramatically different than Coke Zero normally does, but I guess it was a little fruity. I don't know. Yeah. Here's the stamps I did in. Looks like these are all from Tokyo Station Traveler's Factory, and some stickers from there as well. And then this is one of the bags. I mean, I got a bunch of bags because I bought a lot of stuff. Check out my haul video. But I like the bag, so I cut that up and put that in as a page in my not yet constructed notebook. And then over here is just some random food packaging that I liked. This was I guess it's not technically an Eki stamp because it wasn't for a train station, it was for a museum. But it was a stamp that was in one of the museums that I stamped into onto the back of this bag that was in my journal. And then this is, I really like the Japanese translations into English that don't quite say what they mean it to say. So this was one that I copied. I think it was something like in the subway, like if you see something, say something sort of vibes, but it translated to when you find something suspicious in a yard, never touch it. And I really like that because that's good advice. If you're looking in someone's yard and you find something suspicious, don't touch it. And then our first full day in Kyoto, we went to the bamboo forest. And so to get there, we took the train and then the randen, which is sort of like a trolley. But I loved because the randen has its own Eki stamp, which I got. And then this is just the headline from one of the free newspapers in the train station. This is a stamp from the Traveler's Factory and then some random other bits that I pulled out. This was actually like a little I mean, it's like a tiny greeting card, so you'll see the other half later in the journal, but I just liked the image of it. So I stuck it in as like a little flap, and then I have no idea what this is from, but it's some Japanese label from something that I bought. And then this is you'll see the map after, but like this is the back of the map for the Randon that we took. And then my husband eating a creme brulee donut that we got at the train station was lovely because they take the donut and then they take a blowtorch and they fire it up right in front of you. And just some random stickers and bits that I decorated with. Yeah. And that's the map for the Randon, but it also shows the different sites that we went to see that day. We went to the bamboo forest, we went to some shrines, and we also went to this place. The name of it's later in the journal, but it's basically was like an estate from a silent actor who had built like all these gardens and stuff. More on that later. But here's some pictures from walking through the gardens, up a piece of the bamboo from the bamboo forest. This is what the bamboo forest sort of is, like it's paths through these really tall bamboo trees. This is just another Eki stamp. I got 2 in one station because they had the Randon stamp and the train stamp, so that was pretty good. This is their ticket from one of the shrines that day. And this lovely little item, you'll see later, but in one of the shrines, I don't know if it's a shrine, it's like a little house in the gardens. You climb these stone stairs and it's like this open air pavilion with tatami mats, so you take your shoes off and you go in and there's a little zen garden. And they also had these tables set up so you could copy out poems, haikus and things, and they had like brush pens and nice paper. So we sat there and we did that, even though I don't know Japanese. And I think, honestly, this isn't probably even the poem. I think it's like the author's name or something like that. But I really enjoyed doing that. And then this is like one of the like check-in forms from the hotel. Like you have to fill out the different things and ask for your occupation. But I was being very zen, so I put, "Why don't you sit quietly?" because that's what the sign leading into this little house said. So that was my occupation that day. And I'm like really brilliant and artistic, so that's what I wrote. Also, like, obviously you get a lot of the little paper sleeves that come with chopsticks, so I saved a lot of those. I don't know if I used a lot in my journal, but I definitely had a stack of them by the end of the trip. Yeah, what else? The next day we went to, let's see, it's Fushimi Inariyama. It's the place in Kyoto that has basically like the hundreds and hundreds of these gates going up the mountainside. So we went there. And this page just has... we also went to the manga museum that day. So this is the stamp from the manga museum. I liked him because he has it looks like a fountain pen, but it's, I'm sure, actually a dip pen for making manga. But that's their little mascot at the manga museum. I also did this little parfait for days because everywhere we went, they had these delicious parfaits. I would say 90% of them were delicious. Like, it has the ice cream and it has mochi in it. There was this weird gelatin stuff at the bottom of all of them that I did not like, but it was easy to not eat it. You could just eat the top parts and it was delicious. This is a little fox from the shrine where people would put coins on his head, presumably, and also make a wish. At least that's what I did. What did I wish for? I'm not telling you. We also went to B-Side Label that day. You'll see from my haul video all the stickers I bought there. But this was the sticker from their packaging, but then I also asked for an extra one in case that one didn't come off nicely, so I had one in my journal, and then I did get that one off, so I have 2. So I'm brilliant, and I have too much ephemera. Is that a thing? I don't think so. This was a little Q&A thing that we got at one of the shops there that one of the nice ladies gave us that sort of tells you about the shrine and sort of what a torii gate is, why are there foxes there, things like that. So I put that in as a page in my journal, so I could, read that and remember. I'm not going to read it to you now because I'm too cool. And so yeah, we went to the shrine with the torii gates, and we also went that day to the Samurai and Ninja Museum, and this is my wristband from that, but I thought it made like a nice good like symbolic path through the torii gates. So I put that in there. So it's like a double entendre for ephemera. This is just some washi from the manga museum. Obviously I'm writing here what we did, but I also drew a bunch of the torii gates in here. They're really easy to draw, so if you go to Japan, even you can draw torii gates. But then I had little hangyodans in there too. I thought that was cute. And they also had cats on the paths around the shrines, and this cat specifically was named Red Bean the cat. We know that because the lady who made this postcard, who drew and painted or whatever this postcard, told us that cat's name, and we met that cat. But so that's him, and we met him in real life. And then this is just I took notes on the feudal system. We learned that at the Samurai Museum, like the different the hierarchy in feudal times in Japan, and I thought it was really interesting, so I took some notes on it. I mean, not as we were going. I sort of did it afterwards, so it might be a little off. But I thought the most interesting bits to me were that the peasants and like the fishermen and farmers, that was the class that the ninjas came from because they were the spies. And then the ronin were like the samurai that didn't have the masters. And they have the term ronin today to describe students that don't get into college or something like that I thought was very dramatic. And then we also, at the Ninja Museum, learned to throw ninja stars. So here's my husband throwing a ninja star at some styrofoam. And we were professionals, although we didn't win the contest, so what can you do? This is just some random ephemera that I used to fill this page because that's what happens when you're building a journal on the fly. Sometimes you end up with a blank page that you just get to fill with fun stuff. So a sticker from a museum, some nice fun paper. Oh, and this paper here and this paper here. The nice lady who introduced us to Red Bean the cat also gave us some folded origami fox masks, which was very nice of her, but I did end up unfolding them because I couldn't put them in here as a fox mask, and the only other thing that was going to happen to them was they were going to get thrown away. So I unfolded them and I used the origami paper in here. So she lives on, and her efforts to make fox masks lives on in my journal in a different form. This is just a random chocolate bar that I bought entirely because I liked the packaging. It was matcha flavored. It was fine. It wasn't great, but I got the packaging and I like that. Just a random collection of pictures in a subway pass. Like this is the trees and the gardens we were walking through. This is a picture of our Airbnb there. This is actually on the last day, and it still looks pristine because I went up to the second floor where we never went during our stay there and took some pictures. So it looks like it's just moved in. And there's lots of little statues and stuff around the shrines in Kyoto that we went to, so I took pictures of those because I love them, obviously. This paper that it's on did used to be something, but I can't tell you anymore what it was because I covered it up, so now it's just some random Japanese words showing through. I think actually, we'll see the second half of it later when we get to that part of the journal. I think it was the housekeeping left us a note that they couldn't get into our room because we put Do Not Disturb on, which we did on purpose because we didn't need them to clean. But I really liked it because it was such nice paper to get a random note in a hotel slipped under your door on, that I included it as a page in my notebook. So that's what that is. I had some trouble here getting this, because it's thick cardboard, into my journal, so I just sort of smashed it in there until it fits, and I think it works fine. And This little flap is a bag from B-Side Labels that I stuck in there as a page. And this is a picture of me shopping in B-Side Labels. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this before. And then this is a sticker from B-Side Labels. This is a postcard from the Manga Museum that I cut off so that it would fit on this little flap. I just liked it because it was the little guy and he's reading manga. This was a flyer I got from B-Side Labels. I really like B-Side Labels, so I kept all the ephemera from there and stuck it in my journal. Well, that's not true. We went several times, so I got ephemera that I didn't include because it was duplicates, but everything I got, I put in there. This is our tickets to the Manga Museum, and then this is the flyer from the Manga Museum that I put in as a page. I left this sort of whole and unadulterated because it really does show like what the Manga Museum is like. It's like drawings of like they have this room in the Manga Museum, and like I don't know, I just really liked that. And then once we were done in Kyoto, I think we spent 2 full days there. We took the bullet train to Hiroshima. I tried to draw the bullet train, and I think I did fine. It's not quite what it looks like, but you get the idea. And this is just a random sticker I got on the way somewhere. I really like that their baseball team was called the Carp, so I bought the sticker and I put it in here. I think that was in Hiroshima, so we'd already gotten there. And then this is like, we went to like a little cake shop where the Japanese man made French cakes, so that's his little sticker. And then this page is really just random because, again, I stuck an extra page in and ended up with some blank pages, which is not a problem at all because I have plenty of stuff to fill it with. So it's just pictures of us on the train, a picture of an Eki stamp station. This one was actually from somewhere in Kyoto, the ones with the purple stamps. More pictures of us on the train. It was rainy that day. And then this is a bag. This page is from a bag that we got. We bought some cheese tarts in the train station, and I liked the bag, so I put it in here as a page. And then this is just some claw machines where you can win either octopus tentacles or fried eggs. And this is a sticker that I thought matched the page well that I bought there. And more packaging from stationery I liked. I would take random price tags and stick them in places in my journal because I liked that. Again, like this is trash, theoretically, but because everything in Japan is so new and different, I loved it all, and so I would keep as much of it as I can, even though it's literally trash, but what can you do? And then we went to Hiroshima, and that's why things start to look a little sad for a couple pages, because what we did in Hiroshima, well, we didn't even have a full day in Hiroshima, so we took the train in the morning, and then we left the next morning, because we didn't have much to do there. But what we did do there was we went to I don't even know what it's called, the Memorial Museum or whatever. So it was real depressing, and so I couldn't like have a fun, colorful spread in my journal about it. But I did take this picture of a eclipse because that also happened while we were in Japan. We couldn't see it because we were in Japan, but it happened. And there was some flyer for some event that had an eclipse on it. So I stuck that in there because it's kind of bomb-like without being a bomb. And I took a picture, near where the bomb landed, really, but it was also near our hotel. And I put in... I wanted to, like, commemorate and, like, honor the experience of, like, going to this place where the majority of it's, like, this really sad thing. And, like, the museum is, like, they don't shy away from, like, here's some burned bodies, here's people that are dying from the after effects, and then, like, here's personal effects. Like, here's a diary of a small girl who died in the bombing and all that stuff. So it was very different from everything else we were doing in Japan and very sad. And I wanted my journal to reflect that because, as happy as I could get was this girl drinking coffee and looking at a cat. And even that was a stretch, honestly. And so then this is also from Hiroshima. This is like I think they call it the Peace Dome, Atomic Bomb Dome. It was like a structure that was still standing after the bombing, and it's been maintained since then. And this section is a little disturbing. I mean, it's not really, because it's not actually bombing victims, but that's why I put it in there. This was like from a horror manga, and it reminded me of the images from in the museum, so I stuck that in there. But I covered most of it with this Peace Park sticker from Hiroshima, because a lot of it now is like, yes, it's the history of it, but it's also like, denuclearization and, aiming for peace, and like shrines and stuff dedicated to that. So I covered it up with that. And it was a really weird day, because we did that, and then we went from there and we went to the Pig Cafe. So we were looking at all these shrines and, all this heartfelt stuff, and this was a bird that I saw there. And then we went and we played with pigs in a cafe. Sort of jarring, but also sort of lovely. Let me see if I can remember their names. Louie, Lubu, Monica. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere, but... Oh, wait. I think I wrote it in here. Lubu, Mio, Monica, and Louie. Yeah. So that one's Mio. And this is the flyer from the Pig Cafe, and just lots of pictures to sort of cheer myself up after all the dead bodies. Yeah. This page is not really chronological. It's just sort of a random bit. Like, this is from a magazine that I ripped out. And then pictures of the cherry blossoms. We weren't there at peak season, but, I mean, it was peak enough for me. Like, there was cherry blossoms everywhere. It was great. These are some paintings that I took pictures of in one of the museums and stuck in here. This is also artwork from a museum. I love when people collect the paper and make art out of it. Obviously, that's my vibe, so there I am. And then that's me looking at cherry blossoms. And this is, like I said earlier in the video, are you still watching? This is wrapping paper from a stationery store. I tried to make this center section sort of calmer and not as chaotic and full. So just some random bits, like these are the stamps from the places we went while we were there. That was from the Traveler's Factory. Some nice seals from the stores that I bought fancy pens from. And then this is like a greeting card from one of the stationery stores. Again, I tried to keep it very calm in here, but we saw the picture of my husband trying to be the silent movie star, and he did a great job. And then these were some of my favorite stickers that I got while I was there. They were at the grocery store checkout. I'm sure they were for children, but I took some because I'm a child at heart. But they're stickers, and it says sticker in Japanese on it. At least that's what my Google app says. So these are stickers. And then this is the room where we copied out those poems. I really liked it, so it was like a very zen vibe for the middle of my journal. And like the ticket to get in there says, I hope you can meet Buddha here today. And I think I did. Just hanging out in the Zen garden, copying out poems with a brush pen. That's very Buddha. And then this is the translation of the sign on the escalator that says, please hold all. Again, I thought that was very zen. Like, as people, aren't we really holding everything inside of us? I'm Buddhist for right now. And then these are just some Eki stamps. Like, that's from the Manga Museum. This is from the Kyoto station. And then these two are from Hiroshima. Like, you can see the dome. And I don't know what this one is. Like, they're cooking something, probably that Hiroshima's famous for, that I don't know the details of. And then we have like a nice coaster for one of the places that I really liked. Because it says normal things like you can't drink if you're under 20 or don't drink and drive. But then I also really liked this because it was like, don't hit your head. Because the way the restaurant was, like, you ducked under this thing and your table was sort of sunken in and you weren't wearing shoes. Like, it was a very like Japanese vibe, but was very specific to that restaurant. So I like that their coaster said that. Um, Picture of journaling. So the journaling about the journaling, I'm here for it because that was part of my experience in Japan. See, I'm doing it. This is just a random picture of a lady collecting seaweed, or maybe it's a guy. I don't know. It's hard to tell. This is the back of the pig flyer, but I left it sort of as it is because I thought it was funny that we went to a restaurant called the Flying Hog. Luckily, we didn't eat any pigs. So these pigs were safe. All pigs were safe. I don't know why it's called that, but it was. Some random pictures of the zoo we went to in Kagoshima. So now we're in Kagoshima. That's where we went to the Flying Hog. So pictures of the koalas that we saw. Our hotel there was very, very fancy. And cheap, I guess, because it wasn't really on the traditional tourist route. Kagoshima is not. Like, we were the only white people there for sure. And so I don't know, I liked it. That's probably not the experience you normally have if you're the minority, and I recognize that. But we had a fancy dinner. It was our anniversary, so we had like the fancy dinner at the Flying Hog where I literally stole the menu from the restaurant and put it in my journal. Do I feel bad about that? No, I don't. Should I? Maybe, but I don't. So I put that in here. This is like the little label for the slippers to use in the hot springs, which we did go to. Our hotel had a private onsen. Well, I guess it wasn't private. It was public for the hotel guests. And we went in there, but we got kicked out because we weren't naked. We sort of thought it was optional, right? Like, yeah, everyone else was naked, but it was like, like, you don't have to be naked. Turns out you do. You cannot wear swim trunks in the onsen. And we got kicked out by some lady who came in with all the naked men and was like, hey, you can't wear pants. And we were like, okay, bye. So I drew this underwear. It's an interesting experience. This page, I drew the view from our hotel room window. This is a very idealized version of it, in that I sort of simplified everything and also made the colors a lot more vibrant. I mean, it was a nice view, don't get me wrong, but this is like coloring book version of our view. And it had this building sort of blocking out part of the view, but then it had a picture of the view we could see on the sign for the building. I thought that was really interesting. And then we went to the zoo. Like I said, there's our ticket, something from the flyer from the zoo. This is the backside of that cheese tart bag that we got at the train station. So this is when we were leaving Kagoshima. Here's all the koalas we saw. They had a lot of koalas. If you want koalas and you're in Japan, go to Kagoshima. The largest koala colony in the northern hemisphere. I know things. Yeah. And I drew, like, vending machines are everywhere in Japan. I just happened to have a minute while we were waiting in the airport for our flight, so I drew one. I have been drawing more and more from life, and I don't think I'm amazing at it by any means, but I think I do it well enough that I can capture things that I see and have a memory of them, and that's really all I'm after. I'm not trying to make artwork. I'm trying to be like, here's this thing I draw because I saw it. I enjoyed the experience of drawing it. Here it is in my notebook. Good enough. And then this is another flavor of Kit Kat that we got that translates to adult sweetness. I think it just means dark chocolate, but I like the idea that it's called adult sweetness. We went to B-side label again, so I put more of the stickers in there. Just some random bits of stuff we got. This is a gum wrapper. Yeah. And then we went back to Tokyo, and that's when the shopping really started. So I bought a lot of pens this day. Probably definitely the most I've ever spent on pens in a single day, and almost certainly the most I ever will spend on pens in a single day. Um, but we also went to Tokyo, Traveler's Factory Tokyo Station again because we were near it and we wanted to get some gifts for people. So I did more stamps in my notebook, but this time I tried to be more like artistic about it. So like have them going off the page, and I like it. I also we bought something at 7-Eleven, and even the packaging at 7-Eleven is nice. So they sealed it with this 7-Eleven tape. So I stole that and put it in my journal. This is a picture of the lady packaging up my emperor. She's wearing her little white gloves, and I felt very, very fancy. I mean, I was very, very fancy that day. So I put a picture of that in there. This is us eating breakfast at the hotel with the fancy view. Yeah. Some business cards for the places I bought pens. We had sushi dinner that night where the guy was making the sushi right in front of us and would bring it piece by piece over and be like, here, try this. Here, try this. So we did. It was good, but it also was awkward to have them like watching you eat every single bite. Some pretty flowers we saw, more Eki stamps. This was some like little Scottish bakery we went into just to have like a random break and sit down, and she drew a little picture on our coaster, so I kept it. It's a little pig drinking a float or something. Yeah, this is the other side of the housekeeping did not clean your room this morning paper, like the fancy paper. See, it's even fountain pen friendly. So it's hard to fault them. And that's a picture of me holding my pen for the first time. Very romantic. And then I pretended it only cost 198 yen. That is not true. And then we ran around and went to some museums in between shopping. This is the one where you can go and they have like a series of stamps that you sort of stamp on top of each other to then make this artwork. Mine's a little off, but I like it anyway. We went to Kakamori. These are the 3 inks that I bought. I circled them on here, but like you get to try them out. So like all these scribbles underneath are me trying them out. Lots of words and a Neki stamp. This was a free sticker from an art store I went into. I bought some other stickers, but this was the free one I put in there. And we also went to, I'm trying to remember what the name of this museum is, but I can't, so that's a problem for you, not for me, because I don't need to know, and you do. So we went and they had a Matisse exhibit. I didn't really like it. It sort of made me think Matisse was overhyped, which I always sort of think. My husband loved it, so I guess, to each his own. I'm probably wrong, but that's okay. This was a business card from the soba noodle place we had for lunch. I love this design. So I definitely put that one in there. This was one of the paintings we saw at one of the museums we went to that I really liked. It's a self-portrait of the artist. This is us eating another fancy dinner. We had the whole room to ourselves. It was a private dining room. So fancy. And then this is the menu that I also stole. Although this one I felt less bad about stealing because it was like, I don't know, just a piece of paper. So it was mine. Another Eki stamp. This one I did somewhere else, and then I stuck it in. I cut it out and I glued it in. Because it's hard to always know where you're going to want an Eki stamp on the fly, So you got to get some extras, and then you can decorate with them. That's just journaling 101. And then, finally now, we're leaving Japan. So this is us. The last day we went to the airport. I mean, we did some walking around, but basically we just went to the airport. Our last meal in Japan was from McDonald's, from vouchers from the airline for being delayed. And I left this question visible. It's from the back sheet of that FAQ about the shrines. It's what the fox is holding in their mouths. Because I covered up the answer, but it's a very poignant question if you think about it. But so for our last meal, we ate Samurai Macs, which is, I guess, like a Big Mac, but with soy sauce. It wasn't that good. And then the French fries, it's like the special kind I've seen on TikTok, or I guess I don't watch TikTok, but TikTok videos that get reposted to Instagram. That's what I'm watching. So you put the fries in the bag, and then they put special seasoning, and you shake it up. So we got two of those. So I kept the clean bag and put that in my journal, and we shook both the fries together in the other bag so I could have a clean one. This is some lady that was at the airport cutting her nails. She was sitting approximately 2 feet from me, so I drew her picture. And actually it was great because sitting across from her was really disgusting. I mean, cutting your nails, okay, like, that's kind of rude, but, like, also, like, her husband was, like, pulling up her shirt and scratching her back. Like, I was surprised he wasn't drawing blood. Like, it was gross. But once I drew her, and she became this cartoon in my notebook, she didn't bother me as much. And I don't think she knew that I was drawing her, hopefully, but her husband did chat with me later about the delay, so we became best friends. And now, the story has a happy ending, and here she is in my notebook. If you know her, tell her I said hi, and please don't cut your nails in public. So we did have a 4-hour delay on our flight, which meant that when we got into Toronto, our connecting flight was already gone, and customs was already closed, so we were stranded for the night. Which honestly, like, you'd think it would be a problem, but, like, it worked out fine for me. Like, okay, I get to sleep a little bit earlier, and then we get a little short trip tomorrow, fine. And they paid for our hotel and for food and everything, so fine by me. And I did spend the next morning, well, I didn't spend the next morning, I spent a few minutes the next morning drawing the wallpaper in our bathroom in the Holiday Inn we stayed in Toronto. And now I have that lovely memory forever. And then here's just the backs of some of the things. Like, this is the back of the Silent Film Stars garden we went to. It sort of describes the whole setup there, and I kept that because I really like that. This is the back of the thing that I filled out, or the poem that I tried to copy. Again, I think it's just the author's name that I copied, but it doesn't matter because I don't speak Japanese. Some random pictures. I threw away my shoes when we left because even though they were relatively new, they were terrible and they hurt my feet. And I didn't want to pack them and carry them all the way back to the States, so I threw them away. And then this was a sign I saw in Toronto that said, "I fix noisy bath fans, the bath fan whisperer." I thought it was funny, so I took a picture and I put it in my journal. And who are you to judge me about what's in my journal? You're just the internet. This is the Holiday Inn, like, thing our key came in. So we watched The Burbs in the morning before we flew out of Toronto, so I put a picture of that in there. And this is just my husband. It's not from then. It's just a random day on the train, but I thought he looked travel weary, so I thought it was a good thing to put on our last travel day. And then I guess I still have a few pages left, but, like, chronologically we finished, and these are just me using up random bits of ephemera and things. Like, these are some pages from, I don't know, a flyer or a magazine. I really like this guy. He's like, I forget what he is. I'm going to not look it up, but look at him. Isn't he weird? Some more random pictures, the packaging from my scissors, flyers, some koala ephemera I had left over, including this postcard, shopping bags, and then a picture of me shopping. This, I, like, left the Atoya bag how it was because I was like, it's very dramatic and graphic. This is just a postcard, but then this flips out. Can you see it? Yep. And I collected a bunch of different food wrappers. Really, I almost always do that when I go to a foreign country. I collect the most interesting food wrappers I find, and I stick them in my journal. Usually in a concentrated area like this. But now I have a little flip out of it. This little page is dedicated to Gashaban, and this is, like, the best one that I got, which was a man-shaped koi sitting on a toilet. And some more random packaging, like from food. I cut up bags that we got that I liked. Um, I tried to save as many labels from my washi tape as I could. Some of them didn't come off nicely, but some of them did, and so they're all in there. Another page of random ephemera. I cut up this off of a bag. This was like the seal from when we bought chopsticks. A random Eki stamp. Some Gashaban information materials. Yeah, I mean, these pages are colorful, and I like them, but there's not really a story to tell about them. This is the back of my fortune. It's basically like, you're going to be fine, you just have to be patient. Which, isn't that life in general? Here's a blank spot. I didn't fill that. And I can't remember what this business card is from. But here's a statue. And, oh, this bag is from the High Tide store, which is like a stationary-ish store. I don't know. It's a little weird. Just some random stickers. Us being Godzilla. Yeah. And then this was a bag from like an Office Max sort of store that I really liked. I mean, I bought stationery there because everywhere has good stationery, but I liked the bag, so I kept that as my last page. I redid the stamps from all the places we'd been, and then just some random bits. Oh, and we didn't see Mount Fuji while we were there, so I put a little note. Oops, we didn't see it, but here's a sticker. And then some more random stuff stuck on the back. So, wow, I do not want to leave it open to Hiroshima. Here, oh, that's also Hiroshima. There, that's a pretty page. So that's it. I mean, I also kept up my daily journal by writing a haiku, and I filled it in when I got back because I didn't bring this journal with me. But you'll see that when I do a flip of this beautiful journal. So for now, that's it. I don't know how long this has been. I can almost guarantee you it's been too long, and I'll probably have to cut some stuff down, but oh, this says it's been 52 minutes. Yeah, a little long. Okay, bye.